Okay, so this is the home ownership program application for 3 homes on Sheridan in February 2022. I am Tiffany Meddy. I'm with Habitat Capital District. Christine, do you want to introduce yourself and Susan?
Sure. I'm Christine Schutte. I'm the Executive Director at Habitat for Humanity.
Hi, everybody. I'm Susan Kottner with you tonight as the Albany Community Land Trust, but you may also be familiar with my work at Affordable Housing Partnership. We're sister organizations. Welcome.
Awesome. So just as, so everyone's aware, coming to this meeting, not coming to this meeting will not impact how anyone's application is reviewed at all. It's just to help support you get as much information as possible. At the end of each slide, we can just kind of debrief for questions, but you can always ask questions in the chat as well. Also, we can't really discuss like your personal financial situation here in this meeting. If you need to chat about it, you have a question, there's contact information at the end to get in touch. So first we'll go over the program requirements. Then we'll show you a little bit about the homes. Then Susan will also talk to you about the community land trust, since these homes will be part of the land trust. Then we'll go through the application process. Then if you're still with us, we'll go through the application online as well. And we're recording, and you'll get a copy of it, and it'll be on our website as well. So we are a first-time home ownership program, and the homes are just starting to being built. So they're not built already. You can't go walk around them. Part of the program is actually you're helping build the homes. So that is a big part of it. I have a question. Can you guys see the dot on the screen? Interesting. Okay, thank you. Anyway, so that component is called sweat equity. And there are 100 required hours of sweat equity per applicant. And 50 of those hours are being on site, helping to build your home, your neighbors' homes. And the other 50 are some other things that we'll talk about later. There are financial qualifications, which we'll also briefly touch on. And here they are. So the application a large chunk of the application is kind of asking for a brief overview of your finances, because we want to make sure that you can afford an affordable mortgage. It doesn't do anyone good if you can't afford it. So we want to make sure you're successful for the long run. And there are, we use the HUD income guidelines. So it's by household size. And I just have household size 1 through 4 on here, but the whole thing is on the application and on the website. And the mortgage product that our home buyers use is through the State of New York Mortgage Agency, and it's a mortgage specifically for Habitat home buyers. So it allows you to put just 1% cash down. And on top of that, in the program, we're also helping you source other kinds of funds to bring that number down even more and to help pay for the closing costs. It's a 2% fixed interest rate over the course of your 30-year mortgage. I like to say the 2% fixed interest rate just means nobody's making money off of your mortgage and no one's losing money off of it. So it's kind of a win-win for everybody. And a big question we get a lot is, do you have to have a minimum credit score? Our banking partner recommends around 600, but everybody's situation is different. And so anyone who meets the program qualifications, the next phase of that is the pre-qualification with the bank. And that's where the banker will look at your whole situation. So don't let even your income, unless it's like, way above the maximum, don't let your income or your credit score discourage you from applying. It's always better to apply and find out you don't qualify, then not apply when you may have qualified. So this is that component I was talking about earlier. So sweat equity, that's my cat, is community and skill building. So you're on site with other home buyers helping to build your home. There's also, we have, and it's not like we're throwing you on a roof and asking you to build a roof. There's supervised activities, they're meaningful, and we try to give you as much advance notice as possible. 10 hours of community activities, so attending the neighborhood association meeting for your current neighborhood, for your future neighborhood, baking cookies for your niece's school, something like that. And then to round it out, another 40 hours doing kind of your own self-directed sweat equity activities. So that could be either you really like going to the build site, so you sign up for more shifts at the build site, you want to do some regular shifts at our restore, any of the time that you spend partnering with us, essentially. So anytime you come in to do paperwork, anytime you spend talking to the bank, that all counts towards your sweat equity. Your friends and family can also contribute some hours as well. And our goal here is the community and skill building. We don't want this to be a burden. You know, if you have any kind of physical or schedule limitations, like, we're willing to work with you. So that's, again, kind of at the core of our program is that partnership. Okay, and the exciting part now is the homes. So this is 155, 153, and 149 Sheridan Avenue in Sheridan Hollow in Albany. This is just kind of a sketch of the facades here. One of the homes, 155, is 3-bedroom, and the other 2 are 4-bedroom. They all have kind of a little different flair on the first floor, but you can look up their kind of individual floor plans on the website, which we'll visit later at the end. And now I'm gonna pass it off to Susan to talk more about the neighborhood.
Yeah, thank you. So we're excited to be in Sheridan Hollow, the Affordable Housing Partnership and the Land Trust and Habitat Housing Visions around all this exciting activity that's going on in terms of the new building and that type of thing. We have a really great mix of longtime residents. It's actually a very stable neighborhood because people love the convenience of living near downtown, near public transit. The Central Avenue bus routes are very close by. We've got great libraries nearby. Obviously, easy access to parks. You know, we're excited about the new access to the riverfront that'll be happening at the bottom of Clinton Avenue, opening up this spring. Again, a lot of good opportunities to network. We've got a really strong neighborhood association, so we invite you to attend those meetings on a regular basis as well. One of the things that we've done in working in Sheridan Hollow is to bring in some new energy efficiency programs. And for you, you've got a brand new home that you're buying. It'll be energy efficient, but we have solar panels that we could potentially put on your home. So you'd want to check in with that program and a few other exciting things coming up in the near future. So we think Sheridan Hollow is a great location, and we think you'll like it too. Tiffany, any other points to make about Sheridan Hollow?
There we go. I was going to point out that I was kind of steamrolling through the slides. So we'll pause here before we go into more about the land trust to see if anyone has questions. Yes, Sarah.
Good evening. Okay, so for the it's only Sharon Howard that's available?
Yes, so this application cycle is just for these 3 homes. You can see the little stars here. It's just for these 3 homes right now.
So how about if I wanted someplace out in Schenectady, would I have to reach the Schenectady office?
Yes, so there is a Habitat in Schenectady, and believe it or not, we're completely independent. So if you're looking for Schenectady, I could email you because I do have your email address. I could email you the contact information for Habitat in Schenectady.
Yeah, because I'm not interested in Albany per se.
Gotcha.
For the home 101. Now, how about if you already have, like I already have my home 101.
That's great. Yeah, we always recommend that as a first step. You know, whether or not someone ends up partnering with us to purchase their home, that's a really solid first step. And Susan does those.
I'll just add to that the homebuyer education that we provide at Affordable Housing Partnership is required as part of your Sunny May loan application. And again, that's a really wonderful product that the Habitat families have access to at 2% interest rate when the current market rate is like 4.25%. So to be able to buy a Habitat home with that great Sunny May product, which asks that you attend homebuyer education like our program, you've already got a head start. So that's really great.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll actually be looking for that information more like for Schenectady.
Okay.
I'm not really interested in Albany.
All right. I'll make sure to email that to you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, Christine put the information in the chat for you. All right. Any other questions on any of the slides we've been going through?
Excuse me, can
Hi, I
she
have a
email
question.
that to me, please?
Yes, Sarah, I will do that.
Okay, thank you.
What question?
I have a question. So my question is, in the beginning, you said there's about 1,000 hours or something that we had to do during the process in order to qualify for a certain amount of the homes or whatnot. So if these homes are already built, where does that community service come in at?
Sure. So I brought the slide back. It's 100 hours. So that's about 6 to 12 hours a month over the course of 8 to 10 months. And the homes are not built yet. Sorry if I didn't make that clear, but they're currently being built. We just put the foundations in. So we're hoping to have the 3 new home buyers come in right away to start building their home from the foundation up.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. One other question. With the design that you have, so let's just say this is, excuse me, the design that you created, which is a pretty design, can there still be additions to that design? Like what if my vision is a little different as the home buyer and I see something, how does that work?
So these homes, we've already gone through, the city's whole building permit process. So these homes are the designs, the floor plans, they're set in stone. There's 2 options for customization. One is most of the time, home buyers do have the opportunity to select some finishings like flooring or cabinet colors, things like that. The second is after you purchase your home, it is your home. So you are totally free to go to the city and say, now I want to start doing this and, putting a wall here. You're totally free to do that because it's your home. But for right now, what we're building is set in stone because that's what the city has told us we can build.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? Alrighty, so let's move on to the land trust with Susan.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I just want to introduce you a little bit to the Land Trust. We're a 35-year-old community-based nonprofit organization. We work only within the city of Albany. And our specialty has always been to buy and rehab homes for affordable home ownership or rental. So we're excited because this partnership with Habitat is the first time that we've really been involved with new construction home ownership. So as I mentioned, the Land Trust is a sister agency to the Affordable Housing Partnership with the Homebuyer Education classes. I also want to clarify, we are not the Albany County Land Bank, which is another great organization that buys or takes over and controls kind of the tax foreclosures through the county process. All four organizations, the Land Trust, Habitat, the Partnership, Land Bank, we all really are working together to provide better housing opportunities in the city of Albany. And so it's exciting, like I said, to be able to work in partnership with all these great groups. The Land Trust is one of 225 land trusts throughout the nation. We're a growing organization in that way. Many have deep partnerships with Habitat. So again, we're excited to be able to start this one here on Sheridan Hollow. The goal of Land Trust really is to create homeownership opportunities that are not only affordable to you as a first-time buyer, but also to future generations of income eligible home buyers. So that's kind of the governing vision of what we have. When we got started many years ago, there was a lot of speculation going on in Albany property, and we were seeing a lot of families being left out of the ability to buy. And we're actually starting to see that again, right? It's becoming harder and harder for families to compete with out-of-town cash buyers for the affordable housing opportunity. So really our goal is to make sure that housing remains affordable for Albany families and their kids, our future generations. So the Land Trust and the Habitat have come together. The house that Habitat is building is going to cost roughly $250,000. But because of the work that we've had to pull in other resources and subsidies and that type of thing, the cost to you will be closer to $145,000. And with that lower purchase price and that very affordable, deeply discounted mortgage interest rate, you're going to be saving hundreds of dollars every month by buying a Habitat and a Land Trust home. So in return, what we ask is that when you decide to sell your home, if you decide to sell, that you agree to pay it forward, that you pay forward the opportunity to have been able to purchase this really high quality home at an affordable price. We ask that you allow another family to have that same chance. And so what we use as a tool to secure that commitment to sell at an affordable price in the future is something called a ground lease. The Community Land Trust was set up so that you own the house. Just as Tiffany said, you can make whatever changes you want to it. You own it, it's yours. But the land, just the land, is retained by the community, this not-for-profit organization of which you're a member. And in fact, you have we need your vote. You vote every year to elect 1/3 of the board of directors that really governs the work of the Community Land Trust. So essentially, you have full rights to use the land. It's as if it is your land. We don't come in and mow your lawn for you. We don't shovel the snow. You get to use it. But again, this ground lease that gives you the right to use the land for 99 years, the requirement is that in exchange that you agree to sell it at an affordable price. So we use a shared equity resale formula. In essence, we're asking that that $100,000 roughly that was used to help make that $250,000 house affordable to you at $145,000. We ask that that money basically stay with the home and that it not get cashed out, if you will. When you go to sell your home, you receive back all the equity that you've invested in your home. In other words, you bought it for $145,000, you sell it for $145,000. and we share the appreciation. So if the values in the community go up, and we hope that they do, right? We think Sheridan Hollow is a great place to live and that overall property values are going to keep going up. What we're asking is that instead of cashing out on the full appreciation that is created by the community, right, as we all work together collaboratively to build up the values in the neighborhood, we ask that you share that so that the next family can continue to afford to live in the house. So there's the formula. It's an appraisal-based formula. Essentially, your home that you bought for $145, in this example, if it was worth $180 when you decided to sell, 25% of the difference between the $180 and the $145, that's what you would be able to keep as your cash, if you will, when you go to sell. So $87.50. Again, we don't cash out on the other value. It just simply stays with the home so that the next generation, maybe your kids, right, can afford to buy a home in Albany. Again, we think that there's really great value because, as we mentioned at the beginning, you're saving so much money by having a lower interest rate and also the subsidized sale price. You're saving hundreds of dollars every month. It's pretty easy to have, in a sense, saved the appreciation that remains with the home. So again, our goal is that the land and the homes remain affordable to Albany residents, and that by our working together, you as a member of the Land Trust, we're able to ensure that we have future good quality housing for next generation home buyers. I think that's what I got. I just want to make sure that, again, the people that work, that manage the Land Trust are all Albany residents and committed to Albany and want the best for folks. So do we have any questions about the Land Trust concept and why we're doing this?
You do have 2 raised hands.
Yes, go ahead.
Let's see.
Hello, my name is Florida Baker. Nice to
Hi,
see
Florida.
you, Susan. And also, this is a wonderful Zoom meeting, and I do appreciate you all inviting us all here to discuss this. My concern is not really a concern, but I have a question about the trust and the equity that is accumulated during the lifetime of the loan. If you're staying, say, supposedly, if you decided you wanted to leave after so many years, after 10 years of living in the home, is that only the part that $8,000 is all you get to?
No. You get any mortgage payments that you've made. So if you've lived there for 10 years, you've paid down on that $140,000 mortgage loan, maybe $10,000 or $15,000. So all that equity that you've basically, you sell the house, and what you'd have to do is pay off the balance of your mortgage. But any equity that you've earned, right, by paying down on that loan, that's yours to keep. So any down payment plus principal payment.
That sounds great. What about the building itself? Is it 1 or 2? Are there 2? You said there's 3 units that's available that they're working on now. Will there be one that has 3 bedrooms and one that has 4, or vice versa?
There's 2 homes that have 4 bedrooms and then 1 home that has 3 bedrooms.
So how do we fight the lottery to win that 1 to 3 bedrooms?
That will be in the next section here, which we can go into after iPhone's question is answered. The other question.
Okay, that probably is me.
Yeah.
And I just had a question pertaining to the future, because I know it's only 3 houses available, so everyone can't get them. So, but I do live in Albany housing now, and this is sounding like a great opportunity. So I was just wondering about future opportunities, just in case this one is missed.
Sure. So we can go into that also in the next section. Were there any other questions about the land trust real quick before we move on?
I just think it's a great idea.
Awesome. All right,
Thank you.
so let's move on to the application process. And we'll definitely make sure to address those 2 questions there. So the first step is obviously, you guys have probably already started doing this, reading about the programs, learning about the available homes, getting your questions answered about the program to start thinking, is this right for me? Is this what I want to do? The application is available for you 3 different ways. You can download it online and print it. You can pick one up in our office at 207 Sheridan. And we're also trying out an online application. So if you're willing to work with us to figure out, how to make the online application accessible to everyone in the future, there's also a link on the website to try that out. Gather your documents. So all of the documents, required documents, which we'll go over just in a second, we need all of those documents to be able to actually review your application. So you can submit an application, just the form and everything's filled out, but if we don't have that documents, we can't determine, if you can qualify for the program. So definitely make sure you get all the documents. Within 30 days of you submitting your application, you will hear back from us about what's happening next with your application, whether it was denied or if you meet all of our internal program requirements, you may be invited to move on to that next step where we have our banking partner see if you can pre-qualify for the mortgage that we were talking about earlier. And if you get that far, then what happens then is that lottery number comes into play. So when we receive your application, we give it a number. It's just kind of like by the order it is received, and we tell you what that number is. And then for anyone who is program qualified and pre-qualified, they're offered the chance to purchase their home based on a lottery draw of those numbers. So that's why it's really, when you submit your application isn't as important as how well of an application you submitted, if that makes sense. So there's no advantage to, submitting it tomorrow at 12 a.m. It all comes down to how well qualified someone can be. Are there any questions on the process before we go into the documents? Okay. So some documents we'll need, and I'm really trying to go over this a lot because it is so important to submit all the documents. So a copy of your photo ID front and back, proof of income. So usually that's your 2 most recent pay stubs. If you receive anything like SSI, child support, spousal support, Section 8, we need the court orders or award letters that are associated with that to prove that you have that income. 2 months of your bank statements for all of your bank accounts. We'll need all of the pages, and it's different than your transaction history. So the statement is like what you get in the mail. You may be able to go into your account online and kind of just download an electronic copy of it, but it is not your transaction history. It is your statement. And then we'll also need your 2 most recent tax returns. And here at the bottom, if you don't have your 2021 tax return yet, that's okay.
I'm sorry.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you go back to one slide? I forgot
Sure.
to screenshot it. Okay, I have it. Thank you.
All right. So if you don't have your 2021 tax return yet, that's okay. Just submit your 2019 and 2020. But if you don't, make sure you call 211 to make an appointment for a free VITA tax filing near you. If you don't qualify for VITA for whatever reason, the Albany Public Library has a lot of resources online to help kind of direct you to the right place. So definitely make sure you file your 2021 tax return. But if you don't have it in time for the application, that's okay. Yeah. So what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So submit all the documents, all of the application by that due date, which is March 7th. It's a Monday by 1 p.m. You can submit it in person by mailing it to our office, or you can submit it electronically either by email or, like I said, try out our online application with us. If you don't have a printer or scanner at home, most of us don't, again, the library is a great resource. So how else you can prepare? Like we mentioned before, definitely look into taking Homebuyer 101 through AHP, and that's with Susan. So that's a really great resource for our home buyers, and then for just anyone looking to purchase a home in the Capital District. Also, so we have a $500 deposit that we ask to kind of like seal your commitment to the program for anyone who's approved. So this is like way in the future. If you end up being qualified as one of the 3 home buyers, one of the things that you will need to do is put down a $500 deposit. So start saving now. Even if you don't get approved into the program, it's always good to have, $500 stashed away. You can also just look for any other kind of documents, gather them so that, again, if you do get all the way to the pre-approval stage, that you have those documents right away. Okay, any other questions before we actually go to the application to kind of go through it page by page? And I know it's a lot as well. Okay, we have 2 raised hands. All right, iPhone.
I'm sorry, that was a hand raised from before.
Okay, I'll lower your hand. And then Florida was your raised hand.
That was to piggyback off of what you just said about the what was my question about the different contributions that will help to be a part of it, like when you on Section 8, and if you need the Section 8, do you have to have the home ownership voucher to submit it during that time, or what do you do?
You mean for like income verification?
Yes, for the income verification, and also for the first-time home buyer certificate.
Right. So for the application, you don't need to give us your Homebuyer 101 certificate. We don't need it for the application at this stage. For Section 8, if you do have like your voucher, or if you have any kind of document that just verifies how much you get from Section 8, that we would need, but I'll show you on the application, there's a line where you can just like self-report how much you get, which is fine. We totally trust you. It's just really nice to have the actual verification there.
Letter, how much they're gonna, which my portion is, and then their portion. So I have that letter, so I already
Perfect.
attached.
Yeah, that is exactly what we would love to have. So just some quick contact here. You can screenshot it, but remember, we will be sending this to you, and it'll be available on our website. If you have questions about the actual homeownership program, you can reach out to me at that email address for the fastest response. And then for the Community Land Trust, I have those 2 contacts. Susan, was there anything else you wanted to say?
Oh, we're good. Thank you.
All right, so we are going to go right now to the application. So right at the top of the screen is that green bar, and that will take you right to the website. So we have just a little overview of the homes here. Again, you can click on the pictures there to take a better look at the floor plan. All right, and so we're gonna open up a copy of the PDF application. So this is the cover page of the application. There's a quick self-assessment here that just goes through the basics of our program requirements. That's you're a first-time home buyer, and that's defined as not having owned a home in the past 3 years. That you believe you meet the income guidelines, that you have some proof of steady income, that you have a satisfactory credit history of on-time payments. Again, we're not looking for perfect credit. If you had perfect credit, you know, we wouldn't exist if everyone had perfect credit. And so approximately 600 or higher. Remember, if you know, if you have a little under 600, don't let that discourage you. You're definitely welcome to apply so that we can look at the whole picture. And this next one is very important. I have no accounts in collection, charge off, unsatisfied public records, and no bankruptcies in the past 4 years. So this section, definitely make sure that you check out, you know, Albany County record search online, just to make sure that you don't have any unsatisfied public records. That would be like debt collection out against you or something like that. Just because the bank will not qualify you if you have outstanding judgments. So definitely double check, you know, maybe meet up with Affordable Housing Partnership to kind of work on, you know, your entire credit score or something like that.
Can I
yes.
interrupt,
Yeah.
Tiffany, just to
Oh
say
yeah,
that?
Susan, go ahead.
Well, just to say that on March 1st, we're having our next Homebuyer 101. And for people that have gone through the process with us before, we do pull your credit report after that meeting, and we'd be happy to just let me know that you're thinking about a Habitat home, and I'll expedite our review so that we can, you know, look at the credit report with you. And I will say that the loan product is getting a little bit more flexible in terms of medical debt. So if it's mainly medical debt that you have, you may not have to worry about it, but we can talk about that in advance.
Definitely. Thank you so much for that offer and for mentioning the medical debt. Yeah. So again, if any of these things kind of come up, don't let anything discourage you from applying, because it's always better to see what, you know, what actually ends up happening. Okay. So also in the application here, oh, I'm sorry, Florida, you had a question.
I did. When you answer these questions in section 1, and you answer, I have no accounts in collections, no charge off, no side, so forth and so on. If you answer yes, is that the correct answer, or should you answer no?
It is yeah, that's the best way we could phrase it, but it's still confusing. So if you do not have any accounts, then you would answer yes. If you answer no, that would mean that you do have accounts.
Yeah, it's confusing.
Yeah, we tried our best. Okay. So the next section here is also important. This is where you will give your initial or an X or something to indicate which homes it is that you would like to apply to. So again, the only difference is 155 has 3 homes or 3 bedrooms, and the other 2 have 4 bedrooms. And then there's just a little bit of a, each one on the first floor has its own unique thing going on. So maybe you like one over the other. I don't know, but you can mark there which homes that you're truly interested in purchasing.
You have a picture of those?
Yeah, so right on our website, you can just click right on the image of the front to take a look at the floor plans.
Yeah, that's just the plan. I'm talking about like where you're sitting in the background there. Is that one of the places?
Oh, no. So again, these are not built yet. they're currently in construction, so we don't actually have a picture of them.
Or the snapshot of the stairwell, is that one of the houses?
That is a previous home.
Oh,
That is very similar. This image, yeah, it's very similar to
can you
what
open,
these homes will look like.
open it up?
Can you see it?
Yeah, I just see the stairs. Can you see anything?
Oh, yeah, I just have that picture. I don't have,
Okay.
yeah, I don't have the 4x4. I'm sure if you dug through our website, you can definitely find some good tours of some Habitat homes.
Sure.
So all the information we went through about the land trust is also here. Our qualification criteria is here. Also, again, with those income guidelines, which are guidelines, so don't let anything discourage you from applying. Are there any questions before we go into the application?
I'm good.
Yeah, I have a question. It's pertaining to the income.
Sure.
It's because I'm transitioning with jobs, so and they pay bi-weekly, and I'm just gonna receive my second check
Yeah.
this week. So the first check is not gonna represent my full income. So should I still submit that?
Yeah, we will talk about that a little bit into the application. We'll talk about how to document your income just in a
Okay.
couple pages here. Yeah.
Okay.
So applicant will always be filled. If you're choosing to have a co-applicant, they will be your co-applicant. So that, but there's always going to be like a primary applicant. A co-applicant is whoever you're buying a house with. And so that would be the person who co-owns the home with you. So you want to make sure it's, you know, somebody that you really do want to own a home with. All right, so you just fill out all this information here. And this in this center is the dependents and anyone else who lives with you. So children, or, you know, if you look after your parents or your niece or nephew or something like that. So anyone who's living with you, an adult child who's dependent on you might be in there, just so we can get an idea of the household size. And then your present address. If you have lived anywhere, if you've lived there for less than 2 years, we'll also need your previous address. And we'll get down to that a little bit, but that is for the credit check, just so we can like verify who we're pulling the credit on and things like that. Okay. This is the willingness to partner. So that is just saying that you and your co-applicant are willing to partner with us. So you're willing to work with us to complete sweat equity and other milestones for the program. So if you click no for there, that's probably the end of the application. So I'm hoping all of you mark a yes for that. So current housing conditions. So again, we need to know this because it helps us get an idea of if your home is like currently overcrowded or something like that. And here also, you can, if you pay rent, this is where you would put one of the places where you would put how much you pay each month in rent. And so one of the required documents, again, is like a copy of your lease or a canceled rent check, just so that it's easy to verify. It's not like we don't believe you what you're writing, but it is a, you know, an application for a financial transaction. So we do have to do our due diligence. And before we get into the employment, everything, I'll ask questions right after this. But this is also a very important box. They're all important or else they wouldn't be there. is the other current housing information. So this is kind of your chance to tell us a little bit about why you want to purchase a Habitat home. It says in the space below, describe the condition of your house or apartment where you live. Why do you want a Habitat home? The most important part of that question is, why do you want to partner with us to purchase a Habitat home? So definitely make sure that you fill that out. Are there any questions before we go on to employment and income?
What was the one that you said, make sure you click no to, or you circle no?
Oh, I said, I hope you click yes for willingness to partner. If you can click no if you'd like, but you know, willingness to partner is a pretty big part of the program. I was mostly just making a joke. You should definitely, you know, consider the partnership aspect seriously, though, of course. Were there any questions about that?
Yeah, I have a question regarding when you're gonna list who would be living there. But I don't have custody of my children, but I can still list them, correct?
Yeah, if they're gonna you know, live with you for any time, right? They're going to be in the home. You want to make sure there's, you know, rooms for them, all that stuff. So yeah, even if you don't have custody, that's fine. They're spending time.
Yeah, because we split the time, but there's no custody or
Yeah.
anything. So okay, I was just making sure.
They're part of your household. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can put them there. Definitely put them there. All right. Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay. Employment information. So here is where you'll put the name of your current employer. If you kind of have two employers right now currently, you can put them both here. The important parts here, and someone mentioned earlier, kind of like, what do you do if you're like transitioning between jobs or something like that? So what the bank likes to see is at least 2 years of employment history. Ideally, that's at the same employer for 2 years, but that's not always the case, right? So what they kind of will look at next is, well, if you're staying in the same industry, that's still stability. So this box here, this type of business, make sure you enter that in as something that makes sense, right? If you don't have a lot of current employment history, like if you're transitioning jobs, make sure that this and this kind of look the same. Don't lie, obviously, but if you're transitioning from one service job to another, they're both service jobs. So that's still kind of going to help make the case that you do have stable employment and stable income. And here's where you'd put how many years you're on the job, your monthly gross wages. So someone mentioned before, well, what do you do if you only have like one paycheck? Just double it, and you can put your monthly gross wages here. And so that is the number before all of your taxes and anything else gets taken out. And it should say on your paycheck, like gross wages, or, something like that. It's not going to be the actual number that that the check is made out for. Any questions? And I do want to say also, if you are transitioning from like different service industries, again, don't let that discourage you. The banker is ultimately going to make his educated kind of opinion on or deduction of qualification. So don't let that discourage you.
They are pretty intimidating, though.
It is serious, so I don't want to discourage anyone. with, all the information that's required, but, it is a home purchase. It's probably the biggest purchase any of us make in our life, right, is purchasing a home. So it's definitely important, but I don't want to intimidate anybody.
Talking about the guys who take all the information for the bank, those loan originators,
Mhm.
they can be pretty intimidating.
Oh, for sure.
Well, I'll just say though, that the lender that Habitat's working with, he loves helping people buy their first home. So don't be intimidated. If any, he'll provide you good feedback. If there's a couple of steps to take to get you ready to buy, he'll be very helpful. So yeah, no, he's excellent. Excellent.
Thanks, Susan. He works actually for all the local habitats. He's like the state mortgage agency like guru. Like
He's a top performer.
Yeah. But loan originators can be intimidating. Paul is not. And of course, we're always here to support you. The whole process can be scary and overwhelming, but we are here to guide you through it. So for monthly income, this application is kind of like standardized from the Habitat for Humanity International. So some of it from this point on, like down here, kind of not all of the boxes are going to be filled, and that's okay. So for wages, you'll put, again, this is for monthly income. So it'll probably be this number or that number combined. Here, for your co-applicant, how much they make in wages a month. And then if there's other adults in your household, like an adult children, you can put how much they make there or not. So that's the thing, is that some income like alimony, there's a note here, alimony, child support, separate maintenance, any, honestly, food stamps, things like that. If you want to put that there, that's okay. If you don't want to put it there, that's also okay. For income. If it's always good to have more information for Paul, the loan originator, to work with, than not enough. So definitely make sure that you're when you're adding up all of these boxes for your income, that you're also thinking about the income guidelines. Again, always be honest. I'm not trying to make anyone put anything dishonestly. Just think about your own financial situation and what makes sense for the application. So if you don't want to consider your alimony as income for the mortgage, don't put it. If you do want to consider that as money that the bank is going to look at to qualify you, then you can put it there as income. So someone mentioned earlier getting Section 8 voucher money. There is a line right here for that, and you can just put how much that is every month. And then you'll also note who is making what money. Again, this is a lot of information, but it is just because it is a very important financial decision. There's also a question here about source of down payment and closing costs. Where will you get the money for the down payment? For example, the most common answer for this is your savings account. So we, one of our program requirements that usually isn't too much of a problem is establishing a savings account. And like I said before, with the deposit, it's always a good idea to start saving money. Yeah, so what is your source of down payment? Are there any questions before we continue? Okay. Assets, so this would be like your bank account is usually the most common asset. So that bank statement that I mentioned earlier, that document that's required, you're going to take a look at the bank statement, tell us the name of the bank. The address is like not as important if you don't have it and it's confusing. It should be right on your bank statement though. The account number and what your current balance is. So that's not the number. That's not the number of what your balance was when the month started. It's what it was when the month ends, and it should somewhere on your account statement make that clear, even though there's a lot of information on there. Monthly debt. So unless you have a boat, motor vehicle is going to be the most common one. So how much you pay each month. And then this unpaid balance one is important to let us know, because it tells us how, and right there next to it, months left to pay, how long is this debt going to be carried with you? Because that's what the banker is going to look at to kind of see into the future. Oh, if we did qualify this person for the mortgage, you know, what may it look like in like 10 years for them, right? So definitely make sure that you're filling out all of that information. Your furniture, if you rent any furniture, same situation. Your credit card, you can just put your monthly minimum amount for your credit card. How much you pay, if you pay child support. To be honest, I'm not sure what this means, the total medical. If you have any questions when you're filling it out, you can call me and we can figure it out together. Because like I said, this is a standardized form, so sometimes it can get a little confusing because it's meant to work for habitats across the country. So definitely call if something is confusing to you. And you'll also be telling us kind of what your monthly expenses typically look like. How much you pay in rent, what do your utilities usually look like, if you pay any car insurance, if you usually have to pay childcare. So all of this is going to help us kind of look at, and mostly the banker look at, does this applicant kind of, if they had this mortgage payment they had to pay, would they still have money left over at the end of the month to kind of like, have a savings account to make savings so that they could take care of the house, or, have a savings account for their own financial goals. So the banker doesn't want to look at someone's application and see that all of the money that you make when you have this mortgage, you also are spending it all just to kind of stay afloat. Because we'd like you to be successful in homeownership for the long run. So yeah, what do your typical monthly expenses look like? You don't have to get very particular here, just kind of a picture of what they look like. Are there any questions on that part? The next part is declarations. It's very similar to those same questions at the beginning on the first page. A couple of the differences are, do you have any outstanding judgments? Have you declared bankruptcy? Have you had a property foreclosed on? Are you currently involved in a lawsuit? Are you paying alimony or child support? All of those questions, A through E, are important for especially the banker, like I was saying, to kind of forecast what an applicant's financial situation may look like in the future if they were, approved for the mortgage. And then the last question is, are you a US citizen or permanent resident? So the federal law is that you have to, for this mortgage product, sorry, is that you do have to be a US citizen or permanent resident to purchase a Habitat house. So that's important. We love all of our neighbors equally, but that is a requirement. The last part here of the application is the authorization and release. And you'll just want to indicate that you understand that we're evaluating your need and for a Habitat house, and also your ability to pay, and that your ability and willingness to partner with us. It's also that you've answered the questions truthfully. That we are, we will be looking into doing a credit check. So that's, you're clicking to say that we're allowed to do that, and lots of other stuff. Sign and date. All right. This section is optional. It's just for government monitoring purposes. It's very what's the word? I don't know, but it's very standard. Anytime you kind of apply for any kind of like financial credit or anything like that, this is kind of a standard form. You do not have to fill it out if you don't want to. We're almost done here. This page is for the credit check. So definitely make sure that you, if you're handwriting the application, please make it very legible for us so that we can perform a credit check. This also is for our banking partner, that we can share your application and all the information that you gave us, that we can share all that information with the banker so that, he can look at everything. So this is from M&T Bank, who is our banking partner. And that is the whole application. I'm tired, you're probably tired, but are there any questions?
I'm sure if there's anything that's pertinent, I will be able to call you if I need to find out answers to questions that I'm back on the first page. I know you don't probably want to go all the way back there, but it says the application cover sheet. What does that involve?
The application cover sheet?
And checklist.
Oh, the checklist. So that self-assessment is just for you to kind of reflect on the basic program requirements to just to make sure that you're thinking about the requirements before you go in and dive into all of the application.
You have to make one up, or is it already here?
It is, so it's just this first page here. I have it on the screen.
Oh, down, that's it.
Yeah.
The first question. And then the third question. The first question and the third question.
What was that?
The first question is application cover sheet.
I see. You're talking about this section 2. So that's just a checklist of everything that's required. So that's, again, that's just for you to kind of keep track of all the required documents, just so that you can make sure that you're submitting all of them.
I have to come up with the checklist.
So that's just, again, that's just this first page. So that means when you submit the application, that it includes this first page here.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And what about the borrower certificate? So the borrower.
Borrower certification authorization form. So that is that page here that we talked about. That's for the bank. That we can share information with them. They can share information with us about your application, and then also some rights that you have from the bank, and disclosures the bank has. What's that?
You check those two boxes off? Do you want us to check them?
Yes, so these need to be filled out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't have to check the boxes off here. That's more for you.
Okay. All righty.
Any other questions?
So the March 1st date, is that a date when we come in and we see if our credit is in line, or we just talk to us about our credit? What's that date?
I can talk about that. That's Homebuyer 101. That's the first session in that homebuyer education program. That would be a required component for that great Habitat mortgage product. So we have it, it's online. It's about an hour and a half, and it talks about the whole kind of home buying process, the grants available. And then actually Paul Hurley, the mortgage contact for this for the Habitat homes, he'll be the speaker. And you can ask questions of him and through the chat if you have specific, if we don't cover your topic in the session. So after that meeting, the Affordable Housing Partnership, we provide the homebuyer education. We ask to pull your credit report so that we can review it with you. If you let us know in the email that you're going to send us, you'll hear more about it at that time, that you're interested in one of the Sheridan Hollow Habitat homes, I'll be sure to expedite your review. So yeah, thank you, Christine's got Homebuyer 101 is at ahphome.org, where you can sign up for that class.
Do I have to retake that class, Susan?
Florida, you do not need to, no, but if you want to touch base with either myself or Christina, feel free to give us a call.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any other questions?
I'm good.
All right. Yeah, and again, we're all available, up until that application deadline and then beyond, for any questions you have about Habitat's program. Susan and her team are also always available for questions if you're interested in the land trust or AHP, anything like that. So
Are we still able to use our grants? Christine? No, Christine, Susan, are we still going to use the those programs that you guys are offering? Are they still available, Susan?
So some of the grants are already incorporated into the Habitat program, I believe. So like the TUI Homeownership program, I think, is a component of the Habitat funding. So that's already part and parcel of this great home that you're looking to buy. If the timing works for the Homebuyer Dream program, that is a product that M&T also makes available to you that you could try to qualify for. So that's an opportunity there.
Okay.
And then Tiffany, do you guys often use the City of Albany down payment program too, or no?
So we have this Sunny May DPAL program.
Right.
We have the HAP program.
The City of Albany HAP program, perfect. Yeah.
Were there, Christine, are there any other?
No, those are the two main down payment programs that folks access. And like Susan said, some home buyers are able to access the TUI Homeownership Foundation down payment grant as well, but we will help guide you towards every available grant that is out there.
That's what I wanted to hear. Thanks.
Yep. We leave no money on the table.
No. You need every nickel.
Exactly. All right. Any other questions?
I don't think so.
Awesome.
Right,
All right. Well, hopefully, you know where to find us when you do think of a next question. Everyone is going to get a recording of this. It'll be available on our website as well. And there'll be a follow-up email with the recording with a link to just a quick survey if you want to give us any feedback. And it will also have a link to the AHP's Homebuyer 101, but we'll make sure to note what Susan said in that email so it doesn't get missed. All right. So have a good night.